Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's an unboxing of a Napoleonic game from a UK company, and it is Bonaparte's Eastern Empire, designed by Andrew Rourke, whose game company Form Square Games, as I said, is based in the UK, and this is the first in the Limits of Glory series. And I met Andrew at PunchCon, which is a UK wargaming convention, and he was kind enough to give me a copy of this for me to have a look at. So what's all this about? It is 1798, and Bonaparte's army and accompanying savants leave Toulon, Genoa, and Civitavecchia aboard the French combined fleets. Can he avoid the Royal Navy in the Mediterranean, then continue through all the conquests, exploration, hardships and disappointments of the campaign? Will it end with the final surrender of the remains of his army, or will he succeed in creating an Eastern Empire, face his challenge of creating a French empire in the Middle East and rewrite history, or defeat Bonaparte to ensure Britain's allies retain control of this important gateway to the East? Bonaparte's Eastern Empire is the first game in the Limits of Glory series and explores the impact of skill and luck on Napoleon Bonaparte's invasion of Egypt. So there we are, Form Square Games, made in the UK. So in the box, we've got a 23 by 16 inch mounted map board, 10 wooden pawns, 8 dice, 4 counter sheets, 1 event clock, 1 combat table, 2 command charts, and a 40-page rule book. Players 2, but suitable for solo. Time 90 to 180 minutes, ages 14 plus, and complexity is moderate. Right, let's get the shrink wrap off. The shrink wrap is off, and I just want to point out here, we've got a little bit of box damage to the corner. That's a little bit of friendly fire from my point. That happened on my way home from PunchCon. I actually took more stuff home than I brought to the convention, and on the train I think we may have had a little mishap. Right, let's open the box. So the first thing we see are the pawns and some red and blue D6s. Next are the rules. So let's have a look at those. Here it is, 40 pages, full colour and semi-gloss paper. And this illustration, which is on the front of the box as well, I believe comes from the publication Punch. So let's have a look. Bonaparte's Eastern Empire, a little bit of background there, some credits, contents, definitions. And then we're into the component list. And you're thinking 40 pages, that's quite a lot, but it's a large font, lots of pictures and illustrations. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick look through this to give you an overview. You can pause the video if you wish, if you want a bit more detail about the rules. So how to set this up, and also for the French and Allied player. So the Allied player looks like we've got Ottomans, Mamluk, counters, Bedouin. So yes, a little bit different this game. How to win for the French and Allied player. Conceding if things get a bit too much. Victory points. BUAs, what's that? There we are. Built up areas. So you get them for controlling those. Controlling the Malta garrison. French get some points if they control the Valley of the Kings, and so on. And then we're into the Limits of Glory system, how it works. Commander glory, position and glory markers. Exhausted commanders use glory for re-rolls. Bonaparte has an automatic 6 glory marker. How the commander seniority works. Commander casualties, and I love the contemporary type illustrations in this rulebook. Movement. It's an area movement map. Example of movement there. Picking off stragglers. The Bedouin never move, and they pick off the French by the looks of it. Sequence of play. So we've got the invasion phase, where the French are trying to move their fleet to Egypt, and Nelson is going to try and stop them. Momentum markers are in play. So how that all works, an example here. Then we've got the disembarkation phase. These look like the legal landing spaces. What happens there? We've got a nice table for the disembarkation. So what happens if it's intercepted at sea or intercepted while disembarking in Egypt? And what happens if it disembarks in Egypt without being intercepted? Conquest phase. We've got this event clock that you use after the French invasion fleet has disembarked to give you an event. Momentum again, how you get those markers and how to place them. Combat. Engaging in combat. Multiple combats from a single activation. How to work out the combat strength of players' units. How to use this combat table. How it works. And a nice example here. Continues on over this side. We've got the score to inflict casualties, British casualties, draws and losing a combat, how to break off a combat. There is an exception for the French. So there's like following up, advance after combat sort of thing, I would have thought. Test for commander casualties, completely destroyed from combat, losing your savants, winning army destroyed. It's possible for the army winning the combat by inflicting more hits than it received to also have all its elements in the space removed as casualties, but they still win. Naval combat. Uprisings. Only affects the French. Sieges. So quite a bit on that. Siege of Malta. May be attacked if it has a French garrison there. Bonaparte returns. Return event rolled. Bonaparte may attempt to return to France on the frigate Muron in any French turn following an event permitting it. How that all works. Mamluks changing side, victory conditions, a nice explanation of the events that can occur, which takes up the rest of the rule book. And on the back, a quick reference. I tell you what, this looks really interesting, but them's the rules. Next, we've got 2 command charts. Here's the Allied one, showing the British Navy, Army, Mamluks, and the Ottomans, single-sided. And here's the French command chart. Not sure how these work, but it looks like, depending on what you roll, shows you possibly what you're going to get. Next, we've got the combat table, and this is a nice thick piece of card, single-sided, with all the info you need. And this, I believe, is the event clock, again on that nice thick card. Then we've got 4 counter sheets, and these are wrapped in cling film because it looks like they're going to punch out. They're pre-rounded, which is becoming more and more common with counter sheets. So let's have a look at these. Here's the first sheet, quite nice thickness of counter. As I said, pre-punched. And interestingly, these look like they might be used on this event clock. Here's the second sheet, and they're all single-sided, but they are rather nice looking counters. Number 3, and counter sheet number 4. And last but not least, we have the mounted board. And here it is, a little smaller than the standard maps a lot of us are used to, but it is an area map moving from area to area, and certainly not a subtle palette, but I must admit I quite like it. It's so different. So here's where Bonaparte's navy is going to try and come across and land at Egypt. I'm intrigued to find out what all these numbers are. As I said at the beginning, this is a very quick overview of the game, just to show you what's in the box, and for you to look at the rules if you wish in more detail. And I must admit, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what this is all about. But that's everything in the box. So this has been an Open the Box, a quick unboxing of a brand new game from a UK company, and it is Bonaparte's Eastern Empire, a game designed by Andrew Rourke and published by Form Square Games. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the first in the Limits of Glory campaign. And if you like the look of this, another one is due out. It's on GameFound. It's Maida 1806. And I'll put a link, if I can, for that GameFound page. I'll also put a link to Form Square Games as well. And if you have a quick search on Facebook, they also have their own community Facebook page called, I believe, Limits of Glory. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. I am very intrigued. But if you did enjoy it and you haven't done so already, it would be wonderful if you would consider subscribing to the channel. Really does help. Pushing that like button also helps as well. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push that bell, but make sure you push all notifications. Leave a comment. This hasn't been out for too long, and I've only just received my copy, thanks to Andrew. But some of you may have already been playing this. Let me know. What do you think? It says it's solo suitable on the back of the box, but talking to Andrew, I think the only thing that you may have to tweak is when Bonaparte's fleet comes across, because that's like hidden information, but there's ways round that. And if you do play it solo, let me know how you cope with that. Whatever you put, you know I love to read them. Thank you, as always, to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And just before I go, quickly, if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, you can. You can buy the channel a coffee, or if you wish, you can push the Super Thanks button underneath the video. Those little donations really do help the channel to get bits and pieces and to help it keep ticking along. So thank you. Right, as I say, it'll be interesting to see how this actually plays, and just keep an eye on the channel for that. But whatever it is, next up on the channel, I hope you can join me for that. So until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.